Alright travelers, today we're diving into one of the most discussed topics within the Genshin Impact community right now. The potential playable debut of Colombina in version Luna 3. This update seems to be shaping up as one of the most significant chapters in recent Genshin history, not just because of its story progression but also because of the exciting possibility that players may finally get a hands-on experience with one of the Fatui Harbingers. The anticipation has reached new heights, with discussions spreading across every major community channel, fan forum and social media thread. Recent reports suggest that Colombina could appear as a temporarily playable character during the Archon Quest in Luna 3. This wouldn't necessarily mean a banner release just yet, but rather, an interactive story sequence that allows players to control her in a limited capacity. For many fans, this recalls past experiences with characters like Nefer and Durin, where Hoyoverse used story-driven trials as a way to build hype and emotional connection long before a full release. If this information turns out to be accurate, players might be able to briefly witness Colombina's combat style, animations, and even unique mechanics through a scripted battle or minigame sequence. What's particularly intriguing is the mention of her ring-throwing skill test. This term has appeared multiple times in leaks and fan interpretations, sparking debate about whether it represents a narrative interaction or a real combat mechanic. Many believe it could function similarly to how temporary controls worked for certain units in Honkai Star Rail, short yet highly cinematic gameplay previews that leave players wanting more. Community speculation suggests that this preview could serve multiple purposes. As a technical showcase for her animations, a lore-based integration to deepen her narrative impact, and as a marketing tool to boost anticipation for her official release in Luna 4. Hoyoverse has a consistent track record of using this approach to excellent effect, building curiosity and engagement before a character's full banner cycle even begins. There's also a growing discussion about Colombina's elemental vision. Early placeholder data led many to assume she would be Cryo, aligning with her cold and composed demeanor seen in prior appearances. However, more recent interpretations and internal cues now lean toward Hydro. A Hydro vision would thematically fit her rumored design, fluid, elegant, and intertwined with the imagery of water, music, and reflection. Her ability to throw rings might not just be symbolic, but functional, potentially representing a Hydro construct or ability that travels between enemies, amplifying effects or chaining elemental reactions in rhythmic patterns. Such mechanics would perfectly match Hoyoverse's recent direction toward dynamic support and utility characters. Colombina might not rely on brute strength but on timing, precision, and coordination, turning combat into an elegant performance rather than a straightforward attack sequence. The integration of music, hydro resonance, and possibly rhythm-based combat cues could make her one of the most unique designs yet. Players who have followed Hoyoverse's storytelling evolution know that this style of introduction is becoming a signature technique. Characters like Arlecchino, Wanderer, and even Nevia all had story-based appearances that foreshadowed their eventual banners. Colombina's rumored Luna 3 trial could be the next iteration of this design philosophy, allowing players to experience her personality and fighting style while advancing the story's emotional and thematic arcs. Still, some voices in the community remain skeptical. They recall moments when early appearances didn't translate into actual playable sequences, as was the case with certain characters in previous acts. This skepticism is valid, given Hoyoverse's tendency to blend cinematic storytelling with gameplay in varying degrees. However, the timing and depth of current information seem to indicate that Colombina's appearance will be more than a passive role. The proximity of the Luna 4 beta test cycle further strengthens this theory. Traditionally, Hoyoverse introduces preview versions of characters roughly one patch before their beta testing begins. If Colombina is indeed featured in Luna 3, it would align perfectly with a Luna 4 banner release timeline. This structured build-up, from teaser to playable story role to full banner, is a pattern the studio has refined over multiple major updates. From a design and narrative perspective, this makes perfect sense. Colombina's rumored Hydro element complements the current thematic arc that has been exploring emotions, reflection, and musical harmony. Her role could serve as a bridge between existing lore threads and future storylines connected to Fontaine's cultural and philosophical motifs. The symbolism of music and water often represents emotion, connection, and memory, traits deeply tied to Colombina's rumored characterization as both hauntingly graceful and deceptively powerful. Her ring-throwing skill, when interpreted through this thematic lens, could carry dual meanings. Mechanically, it may represent a chained hydro attack that circles through enemies, while narratively, it might symbolize cycles of emotion or reflection, a recurring motif in Hoyoverse storytelling. If this dual design exists, Colombina could embody the next step in the studio's fusion of gameplay mechanics and narrative symbolism. The elegance of this design philosophy cannot be understated. By allowing players to briefly control Colombina, Hoyoverse not only showcases her aesthetic and combat identity but also builds emotional investment. It transforms her from a distant figure of intrigue into a character that players connect with firsthand. This approach creates anticipation, not just for her abilities but for her role within the story, ensuring that her eventual banner feels like a natural and highly anticipated progression rather than a sudden reveal. If everything aligns as expected, Luna 3 might serve as the emotional overture to Colombina's full debut. The Archon Quest could weave her appearance into the central plot, giving context to her motives, her connections to other Harbingers, and possibly even a glimpse of her internal conflict. Hoyoverse writing has been steadily leaning toward more layered character portrayals, and Colombina's introduction could exemplify that evolution, balancing poetic storytelling with immersive gameplay design. Her rumored theme music, reportedly inspired by classical compositions with melancholic undertones, may debut during this quest as well. This would serve as both a narrative cue and a musical signature, marking her presence even in moments when she isn't on screen. If this integration happens, it would elevate her introduction to a cinematic level, similar to how Arlecchino's battle theme became synonymous with her character reveal. Ultimately, Colombina's Luna 3 appearance may represent more than just another update. It could symbolize a turning point in how Hoyoverse delivers character-driven storytelling, merging narrative build-up, gameplay experimentation, and emotional resonance into a single cohesive experience. By blending temporary playability with deep lore connections, Hoyoverse continues to set new standards for how live-service games handle character development and anticipation cycles. Even if her appearance turns out to be brief, the impact will likely be profound. Players will finally see a glimpse of her true potential, feel the rhythm of her abilities, and sense the depth of her story arc, all within a carefully crafted narrative moment. It's the kind of design choice that transforms excitement into long-lasting attachment. Colombina's introduction could therefore become one of the most memorable highlights of Luna 3, setting the emotional and narrative stage for the next era of Genshin Impact storytelling. Her elegance, mystery, and rumored hydro resonance could redefine the expectations of how future Harbingers are presented, both narratively and mechanically. And as the community continues to speculate, one truth remains clear. Whether it's a brief quest cameo or a full interactive sequence, Colombina's presence in Luna 3 will mark the beginning of a new chapter, both for her and for Genshin Impact's evolving narrative design.